Sergeant First Class, Illinois Army National Guard, H. Brooks J. Miller. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How you doing?
Great. Good to see you again.
Good, good, good.
Great to see you.
Same.
Also, we have on our live line Colonel Eugene Scott, U.S. Army veteran and America's Heroes Group Business Development Advisory Board member. Colonel, how are you?
I'm good, Cliff. How are you today?
I'd be better if you were here, but I understand. Okay. I understand. And you're going to give us some great information, as you always do. And we also...
I plan to.
I know you will. And, of course,
Yeah.
we also want to welcome our call-in guest, Sergeant Amber Lunt, Illinois National Guard, and former, get this, CPS teacher. How are you, Sergeant Lunt?
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Great. Listen, we've got so much here to talk about, but let's start off, since we have the situation with the teachers right now. We know what's going on with CPS. Sergeant Lunt, how long did you teach, and what do you think about what's going on? You've been in the Army National Guard for 17 years, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been in 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a Chicago Public School teacher for 8.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually still considered a Chicago Public School teacher, but I'm on orders right now, so I won't get too much in the politics of it. I just hope that something's resolved quickly for everybody.
You say you're on orders right now, so you weren't teaching at this point anyway. Is that correct?
Correct. Right now
yeah.
I am recruiting.
You're recruiting. Tell us what you're doing relative to recruitment, Sergeant Lunt.
It's actually very similar because I didn't want to get too much out of the classroom. So I'm still in the classroom. I'm doing presentations, going to college and career fairs, volunteering at high schools to be a chaperone on field trips and being able to answer on-the-spot questions about college and then how the National Guard can help them.
That's great. And I presume that most of the high schools have ROTC?
Actually, most of the Chicago Public High Schools do have ROTC, but some of them are through Army or Marines or Air Force, so there's different branches.
There's different branch. What branch are you? You're Army. Right?
Army National Guard.
Yeah, Army. Yeah, right. Absolutely. I knew that. Absolutely. That's great. That's we need that. That's a great thing.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Sergeant Miller, how you doing?
I'm pretty good.
Good.
I'm pretty good.
Good.
I'm glad to be back.
Glad to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Catch us up. What's the latest?
Well, lately, I'm still in recruiting, but I actually switched locations. So I now recruit at the University of Illinois in Chicago. So I'm working with the college ROTC program. So I've segued from the junior ROTC in high schools, and now I'm actually working with the actual ROTC programs at universities where they actually become officers upon graduating. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That's great.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. Is there a good interest?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
That's beautiful.
It's a lot of the cadets. What they like about the National Guard is that although there's college students currently, once they get their bachelor's degree, if they choose to come into the Guard, they'll receive that 4-year scholarship and they can use it for higher education. So if they wanted to stay in the Guard or stay in Illinois, they can actually pursue a master's degree or something higher because they enlisted in the Army National Guard.
That means a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it certainly
Especially
does.
financially, no student loans.
Sure, that's right. That's right.
Right.
Yeah, Colonel Scott, always a pleasure. Talk to me.
Yes, Cliff. Well, the National Guard, the Illinois National Guard, historically has been important to our community. You go back even before World War I, it was the Illinois National Guard that had this all-black Guard unit that was manned by all black officers. It was a unique organization, one of a kind in the entire Army, one of a kind in the entire world, being officered by all black officers. And it's important that our young people in the community understand the benefits and the all the different things that the National Guard can do for them and help them with education and help them with structure in their life, helping them be disciplined, all these great things our young students can obtain through involvement with the Illinois National Guard. So I support it 100%. I'm a old Englewood JROTC guy and a Florida A&M senior ROTC guy. So I know the importance of getting involved with the military. And I think this is a great effort by the Illinois National Guard, and I support it 100%.
I think it's great, and of course we are so indebted to you, Colonel, because he, as I mentioned in introducing Colonel Scott, he's a U.S. Army veteran, of course, but he's America's Heroes Group Business Development Advisory Board member, and he keeps us on track as what we ought to be doing, and this is the type of thing. There are so many people who could take advantage of this, Colonel, who don't know anything about it, and that's what that's what needs to be done, right?
That's the problem. We need to get the word out. You see, years ago we had veterans that were in families. Now there's not that many black veterans that are in the families in the community. So many of our youngsters in high school don't know the benefits that they could have with the National Guard or either with the regular military. So it's important that the recruiters do get out and get that information. And it's a tough job because you don't have anybody helping you because there's no family members, and it makes it even tougher.
That's very true because, Sergeant Lunt, why is that? I think the Colonel is obviously right on that. Do you have a problem?
I was sitting over here trying not to keep on going, because I agree 100% with Colonel Scott. I tell my students all the time, this is a way to end a cycle within your family dynamic, to end the things that you might not like that you're seeing, or even maybe follow in the footsteps of something that you might have seen in your family. But a lot of my students would be the first ones to ever go to college. They have this fear of failure, though, to even begin college, and then a fear of failure to even join the National Guard. So those two things right there, they're not things that they're seeing within their family until they get educated about it, saying, planting a different seed in their brain, letting them know, like, just because this isn't something you've seen in your family doesn't mean it's something you're not capable of doing. And they're very unaware how the National Guard can really be the ticket and the way out.
Our number is 312-374-8130. A lot of people certainly do not know all you can get out of being with the National Guard. And I just think it's just great what Sergeant Lunt was just saying, and of course our good friend Colonel Scott. Sergeant First Class Miller.
Yes.
Help us.
It's something that being a recruiter myself for the past 15 years is something that we battle with every single day. Educating the youth, getting in there, talking with the parents, talking to the faculty, not being, them allowing us to actually do so, and what I always tell students is, whether you think about joining the military or not, at least know what you're walking away from. At least be willing to have to sit down with us, because we can't make you join. We're recruiters, so there's a lot of paperwork that's involved. There's a lot of different things that you have to do to enlist. And what we say is, just know what you're walking away from. Be willing and able to sit down with us and go over that discussion to have us plan out a future for you, to show you how the National Guard can actually help segue you into something else successful.
I think that's a great way of putting it. Know what you're walking away from, because a lot of people wouldn't think about it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Whether you like it or not, you need to know. You need to know
exactly.
what you're saying no to. Far too many times we get people that tell us no. I'm not in the military. I'm not going to be in the military. I'm not thinking about this. I'm thinking about. And the first thing I ask is, you thinking about going to college? Yeah. I want to go to college. Okay, well, maybe we should have that sit down, because I can show you a way to do it for free. You and that sometimes opens the door. But
Oh, I'm sure.
it takes more than the student. It takes the parents
Yeah.
to be willing to talk with us as well, because that's who influence. That's the major influence in majority of these high school kids' lives is their parents. So if they see that their parents are willing to have that discussion, then they should be able to as well.
Tell me, and any of you, we've got a lot of young people out here who've got, as you well know, a lot of problems. Do we have, and I'll go to you first since we were just talking about it, people who in instances want to join but can't because
Yes.
of, yeah,
Yes,
tell me
all
about
the time.
that.
Academically is one of them. I mean,
Okay.
in order to enter the National Guard, you have to take what we call an ASVAB test, and that's pretty much comparable to an SAT or an ACT test. It has pretty
Okay.
much the same types of subjects, and that is normally the first thing that'll be the barrier of
Okay.
a person enlisting.
Okay.
It's just they can't get over the hump. They can't get that passing score of a 31 or better, and that can stop them. That
Okay.
can stop them temporarily. I mean, they can obviously study for it and retake it,
Right, yeah.
but initially, that's one of the first things that prevents them from joining.
Sergeant Lunt, I heard you say, tell us what you were thinking when I asked that question.
Yeah, the ASVAB is definitely what came to mind is, first when I'm talking to students about the National Guard and how not only will we pay your tuition, but we'll pay you to go to school, it almost sounds too good to be true. And they start thinking, you know what, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And, it's kind of trying to stop them right there and be like, look, I was in your shoes. And when a recruiter told me you're going to get paid to go to school, I was like, yeah, right. It's a recruiter. You all lie. I'm out of here. And when I got my first check directly deposited, I was looking at it. I'm like, this is a joke. I'm afraid to spend it. I actually went and asked. I'm like, can I spend this? Is my money, or is the government going to come and take it? My commander at the time looked at me like I was a fool. He was like, yeah, that's your money. Did you not read your contract? I'm like, yeah, but is that for real? He's like, it's a contract. And I was like, all right. So I took my money, went on vacation, and that was it. But what I get into the ASVAB is, they think it's just as quick as, okay, I'm going to sign this contract and go. And that's why targeting the high schools and getting in there and making them realize you really got to pay attention in school. What your teachers are saying is true. It's going to come back, in the future. You're going to use this someday. We all roll our eyes when the teachers say that, but at the same time, I did when I was in high school. They're like, oh, someday you're going to need this. Yeah, sure. There I was sitting there taking the ASVAB, and they said the higher the score, the more jobs you have. The more jobs options that you have, you might qualify for bonuses. You might qualify for this and that. I mean, there's so many other benefits. And right then and there, I was just thinking of all the teachers that told me, you're going to need this, and it's just getting into the schools and letting them know you really need to pay attention, because there's a lot of people. We tell them all the benefits of the National Guard. We get them to realize we're not lying to you. And then they sit down and take the ASVAB, and they're kind of let down. They thought it was going to be easy. And it's not always easy for some people, especially, if they're struggling in certain areas with word recognition or arithmetic reasoning.
Let me ask this to either of you, and then we'll go to Colonel Scott afterwards. If you have any problem with the law, how does that impact?
What things concerning the law, it depends on what it depends on what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, misdemeanors and things like that, we can waive most offenses. Felonies we can't. Right now we're not taking any felonies. We haven't in quite some time. But if a person has a misdemeanor or a petty charge, the first thing they have to do is be honest with us. Far too many times they're told when they go through the charge and the charge gets dropped, it's like, oh, it's off your record. Well, it's not. If I do a fingerprint check, even though that charge is dropped, even though that charge was stricken from your record, we can still see it. So you have to be open and honest with us to say, hey, I was charged, but I wasn't convicted. And then we'll go through the necessary steps with you to get the necessary information and the dispositions. And then you'll have to, provide some letters of recommendation. And then, majority of the time we can get those things approved. I mean, people make mistakes, and we understand
Sure.
that. But you have to be honest to let us know what the mistake was, so we can help you. You know, we're here to help you. We're not here to tell you no. We're here to tell you yeah, but you got to give us that
you're
information.
looking for people to come in. That's great. Colonel Scott, what do you think about this whole issue as bringing in more and more people, and particularly African Americans?
Well, it's a challenge, and it's going to take organizations like American Heroes, what you're doing today, to bring the entire community together, to be able to educate and counsel and assist these young people in understanding the benefits of the service, and in particularly of the National Guard. I've seen a lot of young people today that are mentioning their involvement in the National Guard. So that's a good sign, but we've got to do more as a community, because it's a community problem, and the solution lies with the community. And I think, like I said earlier, what you're doing today by bringing these different aspects of the community together will help us to solve this problem. So much money is being left on the table, so much training and knowledge is being left on the table. It's almost criminal that our young people don't take advantage of this. And I'm available to do whatever I can to help them understand the benefits of being a service member.
Oh, I know you are. You've done that. You've helped, right here with America's Heroes Group, but you've done so much over the years, Colonel Scott. You are one of the people that so many of us look up to, myself included, because all the things, I'm a veteran, but you look up to the people who really have been there, and you have been there, and you continue to be there. So I just love you for that. It's just great what you do. I tell you, is there a difference? Which one of you people who are reaching out for the Guard, how do you, if somebody asks you the difference between the National Guard and the Reserve, how would you respond to that?
Well, the difference is a couple things. The two major things is our responsibility and our educational benefits.
Okay.
On the responsibility side, the Army Reserve's responsibility is exactly how it sounds. They're a reserve component for the Army. So in instances where active Army soldiers need additional troops for different missions, they can call on the reserves. So that's their main mission. For the Army National Guard, that's part of our mission. We are a reserve component for the Army as well, so they can come and pick and pull from our pile if they need additional troops for missions. But along with that, our primary responsibility in the National Guard is to protect the states from riots, floods, natural disasters. So the hurricanes that you hear about going on, the wildfires in Chicago, and different things like that, those are the things that the National Guard comes out for. Pretty much anything that the police and fire department needs support on is something that we can actually come out for. So that's the first thing. Then when you slide over to the educational benefits, we all have similar benefits except for the National Guard grant. That's the 4-year scholarship that we have that no other branch actually has, right? So in the state of Illinois, that's right. So in the state of Illinois, you can go to any state-funded school, any public school for 4 years, okay? The other educational benefits that we all provide is what we call the federal tuition assistance. So that's $4,000 per year towards any school, and then you can utilize what we call the post 9/11 GI Bill, but that's after you have active service. So you need at least 36 months of active service to accumulate that. But with the National Guard grant, you get that immediately. You get that 1 year after the time that you serve. So when you talk about when I know that a student wants to go to college, I tell them the differences between the reserves and the Guard, and the Guard is a better option because we have that scholarship you can use a year from the day that you join, as opposed to having to accumulate 3 years of service in order to maximize the post 9/11 GI Bill.
Makes a lot of sense. Did you want to say something, Sergeant Lunt?
Oh, I was just agreeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't disagree. That's what it is. But yeah, I wish there was more time. I get really excited talking about the National Guard. Obviously, I've been in 17 years, but every time I hear someone else explaining it, it is exciting to think about that you're getting this tuition, you're getting it paid for immediately after 1 year of service. And then also you have a lot of people don't know this, that after you're done with basic training and your AIT, that you get college credits for that. So when you bring that into your college, you print out your transcripts that are actually on AKO, and you get college credit for that time. So when I was done, and I'm talking 17 years ago, I brought it to my college I was going to, and I got 12 credits right off the bat. So it was a whole semester I didn't even have to do.
This is the sort of information, Colonel Scott, that a lot of people have absolutely no idea about. You'd have to be, if you didn't take advantage of this after hearing about it, we don't need you anyway.
That's a good way to put it.
That's so true, Cliff. What you're doing, Cliff, is going to help out this situation tremendously, because you're bringing attention to this lack of knowledge and deficit in our community. So
right.
I just encourage you to keep this up because it's so important, and we're going to do what we can to get this corrected. And I want to hats off to the National Guard recruiters. It's a tough sell, but you're doing a great job, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, Colonel.
Thank you, sir.
It certainly is, Colonel Scott. And when you hear about this, I mean, it's just some things like I was saying. Everybody was laughing about it. I said, if you don't understand, this is a good thing. We don't want you around us.
So true.
Yeah. This is just.
That's how I'm going to end every conversation from now on.
That's great.